Alrighty. I think we're live. We're live. It says we're live. Alrighty, so we're back in the editing room. I enjoyed doing this last time, and I'm going to do my best to explain more of what I'm doing this time. This time, we're going to be editing a piece of content for a podcast called Psych Radio. We're going to start doing these a little bit more consistently. We have some cool stuff that we've got to do here. So, we're going to kind of brainstorm it. This might be a two-parter depending upon what we got going on. I've still got stuff I got to do later tonight. So we'll see. We'll open up some of our notes here. Sure, sticky notes works for me. It's going to update. So no, we're not going to do sticky notes. We'll just do a little notepad here. So what we have here, I don't really have anything to show you. The person who gave this to me is wanting me to really take some creative liberties with this. We have a logo that we have, which is pretty cool. It's really nicely designed. I thought it was cool. We do also have some music here. Just like some lo-fi kind of music beats, just as an intro, outro type thing. I'm not entirely sure how long it's supposed to be. I don't know the length. I don't know a whole lot. He's really given me creative freedom to kind of make this my own and kind of see what to do with this. He's really entrusting me with this, so this will be kind of a fun experiment here. So we can really be creative with whatever we want to do it. So, as always, if you have suggestions or ideas of something that you think would be cool, because we are all creatives here and all ideas are welcome because that's what we do around here. So some of the assets that we have, because love to take notes. Some of the assets that we have are some music. We have the logo. We'll make this more organized. Music. We have the logo. We have some of the footage from it, from some of the other stuff on here. I have right now. I don't know what I'm gonna do for an intro or outro. I think I'm gonna kind of try to make it as organized and as best I can with whatever we have. So this might be a two-parter. This might be a single-parter. Who really knows? Who knows what we're gonna do here? So I'm thinking we'll save this for a later date. Just because I don't have these assets, unfortunately. But I'm thinking, and once I kind of run it through here, I think it would kind of be cool to do like the intro is flashing all these. It's boom, boom, boom. This person, this person, this person, interviewing this, interviewing that. Boom, boom, boom. And then at the end, it's two people potentially like laughing. I think that could be kind of a cool way to transition into whoever we're talking with. This person is named Deanne, and our other host is Garrett. And so we'll be able to have that. And on my side here, I do have all these files just in a much more organized way. You can see that if I do this, you can see here I have all these files here nicely organized and laid out. So that way, if needed and when, I can always just drag it in. But I do have it in my normal Premiere. So with that being said, let's kind of get started here and kind of see what we got to work with. Obviously, I have a scary feeling, if I decide to blow this up. Oh, wow, it's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I was expecting this to be rough, but I actually don't mind how that looks. It could be cool to maybe do something like that, where it starts in big and then kind of fades out with the person behind it. So I'm assuming we don't need junk, but like we'll go to our wide shot. That's wide shot junk. I don't think we need that. We'll go to, where is our wide here? Let's see where our first wide is. Wide cam 1. I would assume this is the first one. I also don't know what they've really talked about or what they did or how it was filmed. I know they're recording on some older Canon cameras, which is cool. But I'm not entirely sure what to expect here. Kind of how they intro it, all that stuff. So we'll kind of give this a little listen to and see what we can do.
Yeah, tell how are you? Okay. Everything's recording?
Yep.
Okay. Deanne Sally, how are you today?
What? Cool. So that's how they start it here. And so one thing we can do is we can maybe move this over a little bit. The music plays. If I unmute it.
I was thinking that
And the music can, slowly start to taper off from around here, kind of move it maybe around there. I can taper off eventually, and we can make it go. It's gonna even need to move over than that. I want that drop to be right there when we go. Yeah, so I just gotta get that aligned properly if we can. As best as we can, about right there. So you can kind of hear they're super quiet. Fortunately, we do have actual audio to work with here, so we can slide this over and go down here. We will do I might, if I can, I'm going to try to do some multicam stuff if I can and if it will let me. That is my goal. Ultimately, I want to be able to have that multicam going. That way, I'm not having to cut back and forth between syncs of stuff. I'm not entirely sure how stuff was recorded. You know, if these were recorded differently.
Everything's recording?
Yeah, so it looks like they recorded these at the same time. So that is at least helpful. So we can in here, in there.
Dan Sally, how are you today?
Wonderful.
Cool, and then it's gonna cut out.
Most people can do SMI for 10 years and walk out scot-free. So do you think that had an impact on you?
Let me get out there, and then we'll take and drag this guy here. We'll sync these clips up. I'm having a brain fart. Jeez, man, it's been a long day. I don't have a ton of sleep right now. It's happening. So let that sync up, and we'll take a sip of chocolate milk because that is the best drink in the world. It's good stuff. Very good stuff. Highly recommend it. Well, this processing here, kind of thinking forward. I know that they recorded 3 different sections. So they recorded part 1, part 2, part 3. And it's all part of the same sequence. And my concern is how I'm going to transition out. So while we're doing this, let's be thinking, okay, how can we transition from this place to this place at the same time? Ideally, I would love to just crossfade and make it easy. However, I don't know if I'm going to get that lucky or what it's going to look like when that happens. So we'll kind of see.
To do clinical hours in a state hospital where we served this.
Cool. Now we'll get the Deanne 1. Deanne 1. That's wide. Deanne. There you are. Hello, Miss Deanne. Nope, not what I wanted to do. Cool. And I'm sure it's going to be kind of close to it, and we'll just sync all of these up. Yes. It's going to take a second, but fortunately, we've already synced one of them, so it shouldn't be too much of a struggle. And I assume the cameras are going to end roughly around the same time, hopefully. I'm not entirely sure if they will or not, but we're going to find out together. Yeah, so this should be a little fun one. Let me know if you have questions or comments or concerns or any ideas that you want to see me try to input here. You know, trying to, make something happen here. This is taking forever right now. But, yeah. So, we'll kind of go through. We'll do part 1. And I think I'm going to do it hopefully with a multicam, if I can remember how to do it. It's been a long time since I've had to do a multicam. I would say it's been probably 4.5 years since I've had to do a multicam. That was back in college when I last did a multicam setup like that. Otherwise, it's primarily been, like, just using, what's it called? Yeah, see, so it's synchronized. So we'll kind of go in here and we'll try to find our best kind of where we want to start stuff. So
Dan Sally.
yeah, so we'll just trim that up and that'll be nice. So we have all of our cams. We're good to go there. They're all going to be synced. And we'll probably end on our wide because our wide will last the longest. And I have a feeling that'll be a nice stopping place for it. I don't know if they have mid-roll ads. I don't know where they're at with the podcast yet. I know it's pretty much brand new, so bear with them. They do have a lot, they want to do and a lot they want to try to do. Fortunately, I think they did try to make this as easy as they could on me, but I'm not entirely sure. So let's see here. So we have Garrett 1, which this wave file here. I'm not entirely sure what this is going to look like. It seems a bit small.
Testing, testing, testing.
That is not what we need. What about Garrett 2?
My favorite.
It's recorded really low. What about Garrett 3?
Is page like a
And I knew that I had really wanted that for many years, but thought I couldn't achieve it. And then I realized I'm not that.
So it's recorded really, really low. We're gonna have to do a lot of work for this, just to really help us out here. We can bump up gain just a
I know.
smidge.
And now, so
Yeah,
you
there
want
we
to
go. So that'll help a little bit, in making it a little bit more smoother, and a little bit more bearable to work with. Now that we got that set up, though, we can try to synchronize some of these here. So obviously we don't need these, we just need this one, and we don't need the wide cams version because we don't. We can just sync it with the Garrett cam because it's Garrett's audio. His audio will be the closest, so we'll just sync with him. We'll do that, and we'll sync them together and hope that they're good. We can do this, and if it moves over, it's okay, because we synced it at the line. So because we took all of them up to that line, we know that doesn't matter. We can just bring it right back to the line. It'll still be synced. See? So now, if we go in here, we can see, okay, well, cool, it's synced, but now we have this little gap here. But fortunately, because we pulled all of that back to this starting point line, we can click on this and drag it to the front, and it will still be in sync and sound great. That's perfect and exactly what we would like for us to happen. And so now if we play this,
Dan Tally, how are you today?
Wonderful.
it'll
How are you,
sound
Garrett?
perfect and in line and just like we want it to sound. Now let's get Deanne's in here. I'd assume, yeah, these are all going to be the testing ones. So I would assume DN3 is going to be the same one that we want. I would assume, yes. So we'll do some of the same effects that we did to this one. We'll bump up the gain as much as we can there. See how that sounds? Yeah, I can just tell it's going to be way too low. I'd go to our audio gain. We'll adjust our gain by just, I think I did 14 on that last one. So we'll do 14 again on this one. Just trying to bump up as much as we can. Typically, as you remember,
I was a
-12 is
brand
where you
new
want it.
student in
12,
nursing school.
-6 is where you want to be on
And
your slide
I
here.
honestly remember thinking,
And that sounds
that
great,
was-
actually. That sounds really, really good. So now we know we don't need Garrett's audio because Garrett's audio is going to be synced. But really quickly, I want to do this, and I want to link these two. We'll click unlink, and we'll click link. This will allow us, whatever we do to this one, will be done to this one, so we can move them back and forth, and they'll both move together. We now don't need Garrett's camera audio anymore, and that'll be okay, and we can just sync these two now together. We can sync and call it good. It'll do its thing, and we'll be synced. Synced, sunked, and sanked. Perfect. Cool. It's always great when things work out in your favor. I'm hoping that this continues to keep going as well as it is, because editing is a frustrating profession. I recently saw, and I think my mom sent it to me. She sent me a video that was like the most stressful profession is like editors, who like edit professionally for movies and stuff like that. And I'm like, honestly, yeah, I believe it. Like, editors are some of the hardest working people you'll find. So now we can play this a little bit and hear this sound.
Dan Tally, how are you today?
Wonderful. How are you, Garrett?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Super excited to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's a delight.
So I have a few questions for you. I just want to kind of get to know you, figure out why you do what you do.
Okay.
So first off,
So cool. Now we got that. That sounds really good, actually. That audio sounds awesome. The voice
I don't
sounds
know.
Great. Doesn't sound like it. He did link some Audition files and some Audition exports. I'm not entirely sure what he did with those. It seems like he exported them through Audition and recorded them potentially in Audition, which is perfect. It helps me out a lot because Audition has its own software where it's going to help you compress. And I'm editing in Premiere, so it's going to see and understand all of those effects. So that'll make my life substantially easier. We'll start off with this one here. We can see this is where the camera cuts out here, so we're going to have to really try to...
I will tell you that the first 6 months I worked in that field, it me was that I was having an opportunity to help individuals.
There's beauty a lot, and I think that that's especially impactful.
So I don't think they go all the way out. Do they close here?
But my goal, I just want to help people.
Wow. Well, I think your patient was right. Angel's the correct definition.
Thank you.
Yep, you're absolutely delightful. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Good to be here.
Yes, ma'am.
Cool. So they do have some sort of a closing. You know, I may script up something for them so that way it's a little bit more formalized as a podcast. So that way they can, you know, really start to hone in what they're going with for a podcast. Are they focusing on stories? Are they focusing on, you know, I don't know. I haven't listened to it fully. I'm experiencing this just for the first time, like I would normally opening it, and that's kind of my idea with streaming it is, you know, we're jumping right in. We're starting to dig in here, and we're gonna kind of try to see what we could do, even if it's kind of a chaos mess, which it's not. This is perfectly fine, which makes it easy. So, we'll minimize these here, and I want to make sure that this is synced to Deanne. I want to link those there. So now we can add our multi-camera view. Toggle multi-view. Okay. Why didn't you add? There we go. Cool. Okay. Cool. Whatever. How can I remember to do a multicam? It's been so long since I've had to do a multicam. Reminding myself how to do it. Ugh. It's been forever, dude. No, not comparison view. I think we might just do it the normal way for now and make my life easier. Not that it's easier, but you know. Multicam. As you can tell, schooling did absolutely nothing for me whatsoever. Anyways, so what we're going to do here is we're going to just do it the normal way. So we'll start on a wide, I think, and we'll just do it the good old-fashioned way, which would be the way I would say you guys would probably do it. Going through and just cutting when you want to cut back. Typically, when we want to cut, you want to cut for emotion and for reaction. So typically those two come together, and typically you'll get the reaction with the emotion. And that's what's going to be beneficial here. Really quickly, I need to see something here. Let's see here. Is it in here? It seems like it should be in here. Create multicam source. I'm trying to find it so I could just do it that way. But it didn't. I didn't see that. I'm going to be really stupid because I'm going to miss it. I'm going to feel like a total idiot. Let's see here. Footage, yeah. Select a bin assets from the create multicam source sequence. Select a bin containing assets and choose a sync method from the create multicam source. What? Yeah, create multicam sequence. Okay, so we need to find just those files then, which will be. Can we zoom out as far? How far out can we get here? I don't think we're gonna be able to get that far out. So, let's see. We'll put this one in there, and we'll just kind of go through and try to find all of them. We can just go to the assembly panel. Oh boy, I forgot they changed all of the stuff around here. It's so strange. I'm so used to the old version, and it's just been forever since I've used it. And yeah, it's just a while. Put that in there. We'll put this in there. We'll put this in here. We'll put this in here. And we'll put this in here. And then we can go here. Create multicam source. That's all fine. Typically, this will all be okay. We shouldn't have to stress about too much of this. We can kind of just let this be. Unless, something crazy is changing, which we don't have to stress about. And so it'll create, hopefully, the sequence. Hello? Wakey, wakey. What are we doing here? Hello? What is it doing? Is it because I'm in assembly? What is it doing? Where did it create it? What? What is it doing? There it is. There we go. I'm like, what is it doing here? And what is Premiere doing with my view here? This is ridiculous. Okay, I'm gonna give, I think, Premiere a restart.
So what does a session with you look like? Right, so
I think I'm gonna give Premiere a restart, because I don't know what it is doing. So we're gonna quickly do a Command S, save it up here, and we're gonna X out of this and just let it close down. We'll go and restart a Premiere because I don't know what it's doing. It's 90% of my life when I edit with Premiere because it hates me. I swear, Adobe has something against me for whatever reason. I don't know. See, now it's fine, and it's just like, why did you do this? I don't understand. But whatever, I can't win them all.
Fun. It was just a great childhood.
nice.
I think what I want to do is I want to do this here. So we're gonna be able to cut between each of these when we press our record button. And so we can kind of go through here. I need to add in multi-view, so it'll allow me to switch between some stuff here. So we can do this at full because we can. Fortunately, I think there's only one page, which is great. And so when we're doing this, we can cut through between these of like, okay, hey, we want to cut to this clip, we want to cut to this clip. Does it all start at once? Yeah, so it's all going to start it at once for whatever reason, because that's, Adobe for you. I don't need, no, cancel, I don't need proxies. How do we want to do this? How do I want to do this? Think. I need my record, not space. Right? That is one of them. At least it was. Yeah, see, record. See, so you can record. Boom. See, multicam record. On and off. Cool. So at least it's going to be there. But for whatever reason, it's not going to let me. So whatever, that's how you would make one, but for whatever reason it isn't working, and it's not agreeing with me. So we're going to do it kind of the old-fashioned way here. We're going to go through here, and we're going to sync up now these to these here, just so that way they are synced. If it will let me. Here, let's see. It's not, so that's cool. Go back to our assembly window here. And we'll go to our bin. We'll delete this multicam, and we'll take out. We'll just be able to use this. So let's just select these here, and we can always just sync from there. We'll just start with the first ones to make our lives easier, and we can create a multicam just from those guys. So it'll have the process clips. Cool. We can go back to our bin, process clips, and right here is our 3-camera multicam.
And they're challenging because
So it'll be all
they-
synced and it'll be all nice. And we need to bring in our record, which for whatever reason is still not coming in, and that's okay. So I think it's gonna be 1, 2, and 3, and there's no 4, so we can cut between them.
the first half
for
of my
example.
childhood.
Nursing school. What kind of nurse were you? Dan Talley, how are you today?
Wonderful. How are you, Garrett?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Super excited.
So it didn't sync it for whatever reason. Typically it will sync it for you,
Ew,
and so
then
you
I
can avoid all the nightmare that it will come with. And I'm not entirely sure why, but it did.
White
I
coat
really
just
feel
kind of
like
ends up the bad
I
guy
love
for,
it.
which isn't
Well,
necessarily
yeah.
fair.
What is
Grateful
this?
that I've been able to have the circumstances where I could.
Yes, ma'am.
So yeah, that's the end of it. So that'll be the third one. So we can try to move this over here and sync this. But it's not going to because it hates me. Because that's what Premiere does. We just want to select these guys. And just move it back to our podcast bin. And we can take these out of here back to our podcast bin. And just reset everything because Premiere sucks. Now are you going to let me? No, of course not, because obviously that's how it's going to work. Alrighty, so let's just start cutting, just so we can get some at least, we can say we made some sort of progress here. So,
So first off, where are you from?
I'm
start here.
actually from Arizona. I was born.
We'll start here. We'll start on our wide. And I actually want to unlink all these guys here, just so that way I can just drag. So,
Dan Talley, how are you
start on
today?
the wide,
Wonderful.
cut to Garrett, and then cut to Deanne. So,
Dan Talley, how are you today?
Wonderful. How are you, Garrett?
I'm good.
I'll go back to Garrett.
Good. Thank you for asking. Super excited to have you on the show.
Thank you for.
Dan Talley, how are you today?
Wonderful. How are you, Garrett?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Super excited to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's a delight. So I have a few questions for you. I just want to kind of get to know you, figure out why you do what you do.
Cut in here.
Okay.
So, first off, where are you from?
I'm actually from Arizona.
So now this will be what our secret.
Dan Talley, how are you today?
Wonderful. How are you, Garrett?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Super excited to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's a delight. So I have a few questions for you.
We're gonna cut back to a wide to reestablish where we're at. So I might even give this a little bit more leeway room.
Me.
It's a delight. So I have a few questions for you. I just want to kind of get to know you, figure out why you do what you do.
Okay.
So first off, where are you from?
I'm actually from Arizona. I was born and raised in Page, Arizona for the first half of my
Oh,
childhood.
Arizona.
And
We'll cut to
childhood.
get the.
Raised in Page, Arizona for the first half of my childhood. And then moved to another small town in Arizona, St. John's, Arizona.
We'll cut to a wide around here. Go here to about here. Will be our wide to continue to establish.
Another small town in Arizona, St. John's, Arizona, and stayed there for the rest of my childhood and left after I got married.
Cool.
Cut back to
Is Page like a small town?
Left left after I got married.
Cool. Is Page Lake a small town?
Yeah, right there by Lake Powell.
We'll come back to a wide because it's a little bit more casual.
Yeah, it's so.
What was
yes.
it like growing up there?
Typically, when two or more people are talking, you can cut to a wide just to show the scene. So
Yeah,
it's
right there
good
by Lake
general
Powell.
rough
Yeah,
estimate.
it's so.
What was
yes.
it like growing up there?
It was awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah,
yeah.
it was-
That's money. And then we'll go back to him for his reaction because I'm sure he's going to reaction. See, so we have her reaction. Then we could try to see what this will look like here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
See, yeah.
Yeah?
I want that.
Yeah?
Yeah, it
Like growing up there?
was awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was awesome to.
So that's
Yeah, it's so.
What was it
yes.
like growing up there?
It was awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was awesome to grow up in the era that I grew up.
Why is that?
We'll get back to the wide again. Continue to establish right before she starts talking. We'll cut back. Just 'cause it's a
Yeah?
little bit
Yeah,
more
it was
hyper
awesome
out
to
of-
grow up in the era that I grew up.
Why is that?
I tell everybody I had like a Leave It to Beaver childhood. It was idyllic. I had lots of fun. It was just a great childhood.
Nice.
Yep. Go back to the nice.
So, childhood comes and goes, beautiful as it is. You go through school. At what point did you decide that you wanted to do what you do now, which is, well, what do you do now? We'll start there.
So we'll go back to him for his question.
Idyllic. I had lots of fun. It was just a great childhood.
Nice. So, childhood comes and goes, beautiful as it is. You go through school. At what point did you?
We'll cut to at that pause. I want to cut to the wide, just to establish.
At
he's
what
asking her
point
the
did you
question.
decide that you wanted to do what you do now, which is, well, what do you do now? We'll start there.
Well, I am a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do now.
Very cool. And when did you know that you wanted to do? Very cool. And when did you know that you wanted to do that?
Health nurse practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do now.
Very cool. And when did you know that you wanted to do that?
I think I knew a lot longer, further back than I actually knew, than I acknowledged I knew.
Cut to the wide. I don't want to do it there. I want to do it at this playhead.
In fact, I know I did, and the first time that
Right there.
back than I actually knew, than I acknowledged I knew.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I know I did, and the first time that I really thought I wanted to do that,
Okay,
I
we
was-
want to cut on pauses if we can. It'll allow us to add natural pacing to the storyline. It gives us a natural guidance to it. For my normal day job, I work at a church, and I run the production for the services. And so one of the things we do for the sermons is we tend to say a general rule of thumb: 20 seconds you should be cutting. Every 20 seconds you should have a cut at least. I think it's a bit too long. Because, like, think of how ridiculous this would be if I would stayed on one
You go
shot.
through
here.
school. At what point did you decide that you wanted to do
Yeah, adds
what you
natural
do
pacing.
now, which is,
I mean, even this, to me,
well,
feels
what do
long.
you do now? We'll start there.
But it needs to.
Well,
I'm
I
trying to add
am
the pacing, and I'm
a
trying to
mental-
follow their pacing and their cadence to whatever they have going on and whatever they're saying. So,
really thought
let's get back
acknowledged
to
I
it.
knew.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of go
In
quiet.
fact, I know
sorry.
I did, and the first
But
time
just
that
kinda focus.
I really thought I wanted to
Golly,
do
sorry about
that, I was a brand new student in nursing school.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. See, I kind of knew he was
And
gonna go
I
back.
honestly remember thinking,
Back to her.
brand new student in nursing school.
Mm-hmm.
And student in nursing school.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly
We need to go back to here.
knew student in nursing school.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly remember thinking that was too big,
Oh, that's good.
too hard, too far away, too unachievable for me.
And here
yeah.
you are. And here
Yeah.
you are.
And here I am.
Now they're talking again, so we can cut to a wide.
Achievable for me.
And here
yeah.
you are.
And here I am.
Funny how that.
Achievable for me.
And here
yeah.
you are.
And here I am.
Funny how that works.
Mm-hmm.
So then, what did you do prior to that then? Obviously nursing school. What kind of nurse were you?
A psychiatric.
Go here, and then on her, we'll go to a wide. Maybe a little bit more.
Hard, too far away,
Lots
too
of secrets.
unachievable for me.
And here you are.
And here I am.
Funny how that works.
Mm-hmm.
So then, what did you do? Funny how that works.
Mm-hmm.
So then, what did you do prior to that then? Obviously nursing school.
I just want to hang on him.
Obviously
Sure,
nursing school.
That comes
What kind of nurse were you?
A psychiatric nurse. My entire nursing career has been as a psychiatric nurse.
Interesting.
And I did figure that out in the middle of nursing school. Yeah.
Why is that what struck out to you?
Yeah.
Why is that what struck out to you?
I don't know. I think that it was just kind of like written in the cards, I guess. I don't know, because I went into nursing school with the idea that I was open to all of the possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
I had not decided in advance. For sure what I wanted to do.
Go back to Deanne at that point.
I wanted to do.
Right.
And so every course
that'll look
was
good.
fascinating to me, and I thought, oh yeah, I could be a cardiac nurse. I could be a pediatric nurse. I could do labor and delivery. I would just love all of them. Every single course, I felt that way until I had my psychiatric rotations
We'll cut back to the wide here.
and just fell in love with it. I actually had the opportunity to do clinical hours in a state hospital where
Back to her.
we served
That'll look good.
rotations and just fell in love with it. I actually had the opportunity to do clinical hours in
I'm gonna cut back a little sooner.
a state hospital where
Yeah, give her that state hospital thing. Does he have a reaction to that at all?
state hospital where
Not really. So that's
where
okay.
we served the seriously mentally ill individuals, and I just fell in love
Have
with
a
it.
reaction to that.
And
What-
it
what
was,
was that
no
like?
turning with it. And
What-
it was
Cut back to him.
with it. And
What-
it
what
was,
was
no
that
turning
like?
back.
Go to actually the wide.
It was, and I just fell in love with it. And
What-
it
what
was,
was
no
that
turning
like?
back. It was an awesome experience. It was a lot of learning. It was, there were hard days. There's,
Needs to be a cut back here.
there's, there were hard days. There's,
It's too long. It needs to go at here.
there were hard days. There's,
Yeah, that's okay. It'll be all right.
sometimes it's hard and hurtful to see the struggles that people go through, but also
Cut back to our wide around here.
really rewarding to try to be part of helping them. And it was an amazing experience.
Cut to our wide.
Very cool. So you were there.
We'll go back to Garrett on that one.
Now you're here. What happened in between?
Well, I worked in that setting for a day, and it was an amazing experience.
Very cool. So you were there. Now you're here. What happened in between?
Well, I worked in that setting for a decade.
Really?
Yes, and while
Back to him for the really. I'd love it to be on a pause.
for a
but I can't.
decade.
Really?
Yes, and while I was working there,
Don't worry,
I
that last part
continued
was-
my
this one's
education,
fine,
which
on the
originally I
pause,
thought
but-
was going to be too hard. I couldn't do it, but I just kept going. One foot in front of the other, and I finished finished my
One
bachelor's
cut
degree in
from the other, am
nursing.
I right?
I went on and
Jeez.
I got a master's degree in nursing,
Back to a wide.
and I was kind of thinking I would stay in the psychiatric setting, but maybe do leadership. I got a master's degree in nursing administration and leadership.
I don't know how I feel about that one.
And about 2 months before I graduated with that degree, I realized that that wasn't what I wanted. That I
Mm.
We'll add a cut here for Garrett's reaction.
wanted. That I
Mm.
wanted to be
Yeah, I like
a
that.
psychiatric nurse practitioner.
That'd be okay.
And I knew that I had really wanted that
I
for
want to give her a moment
many
to
years,
tell the story.
but thought I couldn't achieve it. And then I realized I'm not that far away. I could do this.
You could jump ship
Yeah,
and finish it.
I could do it. And so I did. Yeah,
Finish it.
I could do it. And so I did.
Very cool. So, couple questions jump out to me there. One of them is, when you finally did leave, was it hard?
Oh, it was extremely hard.
Really?
Nice.
I loved the people there. Of course, the people we served, those individuals changed all the time, and
Right.
new patients came in. But I felt
Establish why.
passionate about serving every single one of them that I had the opportunity to work with, and it was hard to leave the people that I'd worked with for almost a decade. And I felt passionate about serving every single one of them that I had the opportunity to work with, and it was hard to leave the people that I'd worked with for almost a decade. And yeah, it was
You almost
hard.
don't even notice that cut.
Fair enough. And now,
I want to go back to the wide, I think, because there's not really much happening.
fair enough. And now, so you're one of the few providers that, now in your current job, working with us, kind of the best company,
For sure.
for sure. You, now in your current job, working with us, kind of the best company.
For sure.
I'm going to go right to her when she says
Company.
For sure.
For sure. You
Nice, that was
actually
great.
see the entire age range.
Yes,
Pretty much, from what's the youngest you see?
I treat from 6 years of age up to 65
Wow.
across the lifespan.
cut to our wide.
Across the
so it's
lifespan.
low.
So, one question. So, a lot of providers don't. A lot of providers start at either 18 years old or 12 years old. What made you want to start all the way at 6?
Well, I'm a mom.
18 years old or 12 years old. What made you want to start all the way at 6?
Well, I'm a mother of a lot of children.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
How many kids do you have?
I have 11.
Whoa!
Yes, 11 children, and I have 18 grandchildren. And I've just always enjoyed working with
While
children.
being an SMI nurse.
Yes, all. Yeah.
Whoa, okay, relax, Premier. You see how kind of convoluted this will get over time. Like, there's all these little tiny little cuts in here. It's like, okay, like, oy vey.
Whoa!
Go back to him.
Yes, 11 children.
I think I want to go to a wide just to let it hang. And I'll make it a little easier on my
And I have 18 grandchildren, and I've just always enjoyed
While
working with
while
children.
being an SMI nurse.
Yes, all. Yeah.
SMI nurse.
Yes,
That's not what I wanted. I wanted hers.
SMI nurse.
yes.
See, that's what I would like right there.
What made you want to start all the way at 6?
Well, I'm a mother of a lot of children.
Mhm.
A lot.
How many kids do you have?
I have 11.
Whoa!
Yes, 11 children, and I have
How many kids do you have?
So this is gonna be kind of a quick cut here.
of a lot of children.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
How many kids do you have?
I have 11.
Whoa!
Yes, 11 children, and I have 18 grandchildren.
So
And
that's a
I've
nice
just
back and forth wide.
SMI nurse.
Yes, all. Yeah, yeah. And I just, I think that kids are amazing. I think that they deserve great care, no matter what field of care it is. And I think it's hard to find good providers that will take on that challenge. And they're challenging because they just when you think you've got things stabilized and figured out, they grow,
Yes,
they
they
change,
do.
they go through puberty, and so.
We'll go to Garrett here, I think. And then cut back on Deanne and Garrett here.
Challenging because they, just when you think you've got things stabilized and figured out, they grow,
Next
they
stage of life
change,
hits.
they grow,
Next
they
stage of life
change,
hits.
they go through puberty. They go through puberty, and so it can be tough, and it's also really challenging for the parents. And sometimes that's hard when you're providing care to children. Is you're also providing care to the parents and the whole family in a way. But yeah,
So how do you work with parents who, well, actually, first off, when you have younger children come in, what would you say are like the most common reasons?
but yeah,
So how do you work with?
Let him hang on that.
ADHD and ADHD
Okay.
and mood struggles, maybe some sadness or some anxiety. A lot of anxiety I see. Sometimes mood dysregulation, agitation, irritation.
I want to cut back to my wide in here before I go back to Garrett. Once again. Just give me something to work with there.
irritable, those kinds of things. Yeah, those are the most common.
And what do you think makes, well, I guess my question is, how do you deal with that? And maybe more specifically, what makes a good provider for younger children? Like, what do you need to be able to work with that population?
Well, I think first off that they need to feel comfortable with me. And so, and I feel like that's pretty easy for me to accomplish. Most kids really
Back.
like
You're pretty
me.
nice. I gotta say,
maybe it's
you're
the-
pretty nice to talk to.
Maybe it's the grandma.
Right in here. Then we go back to her being the grandma.
I gotta say,
maybe it's
you're
the-
pretty nice to talk to.
Maybe it's the grandma, aura. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
We can go back to him for the
aura. I don't know.
Yeah.
But and I have toys too.
You do have toys.
My office is cool. And I have toys too.
You do have toys.
My office is cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I think right off the bat, setting them at ease, it doesn't matter what age a person is, they're nervous to go see a provider of any kind.
Right.
And set them at ease and just being really natural with them and, making it comfortable for them and their parents.
Right. So me to my next question. How do you work with parents to treat kids in that age range? Because obviously, so at that young, really any age under 18, the parents have to be involved. And so how do you work with parents to give them sort of guidance and help them know what the right decisions are to make?
So my philosophy is, and I tell this to many of my patients if I have the opportunity, that I perceive my role as needing to provide them, the patient and the parents, with accurate, up-to-date, evidence-based information so that as a team, the child, the adolescent, the parents, myself, working as a team, can figure out what would be best for them. And I make sure that the patient knows they are the most important person on that team. And so then I feel like when I give them that information, sometimes I feel like that's a new experience for them, that they haven't ever worked with a provider that actually tells them why we're doing what we're doing and gives them a lot of information, really truly tries to cover, possible side effects and advantages over this versus that, and helping them realize that, this is not me telling you, oh, you better do this, this, and this. No, this is us as a team saying, well, this is what the data shows. These are what our options are. We could do this and consider that and that. What do you think? How do you feel about that? It's their child. It's I'm just lucky enough to be able to be part of that process.
Right. I think that's really cool. I think that all people, when they go to any prescriber, any doctor, anywhere trying to seek help and they have a problem, whether it be physical, physiological, or mental, they don't just want the provider to be like, they don't want to just list their other symptoms and be like, yep, here you go.
Right.
Bye.
Do this because I say so.
Right. It's like, well, wait. What's going on? Is something going on with me? Is something wrong with me?
Right.
What am I like? And I think that's especially true for younger patients, at least in my experience, because you already have those questions of what am I, who am I, what's going on, and so when those questions plus more when there is excess
Very
anxiety, attention
interesting
issues,
topic,
depression,
by
whether
the
it
way.
be,
I'm like
and
kind
they
of
get no
invested
feedback.
in this.
I think that's really
oddly.
hard, right? It's
Yeah.
like walking around in a room without your eyes.
Right. I think that they leave feeling more frightened, nervous, concerned than before. So if I can give them information that's appropriate for their age level, whatever that age is, then hopefully they leave. And I often will say this to them at the end of a visit, to the parents and the patient. I hope that you feel like you learned something today, and I hope this is a place that you'll be excited to come back and see me again. And I'm looking forward to seeing how things go and hearing what, and I'll also ask them about their life. When they come in, I spend a few minutes having them tell me about themselves. What do they like about school? What school do they go to? What do they not like about school? What do they do for fun when they're not at school? Do they have any pets in their family? So that they
think we'll come back to a wide around here, just for reestablishment of what we got going on.
Know that, I want to know who they are. And I often will tell them, okay, thank you for sharing all that stuff with me. I want you to know that I think
Go back to her.
meeting new people's fun, people is fun.
Mm-hmm.
And for the next little while, we're going to talk about maybe some struggles that you're having.
Right.
But those struggles don't define you,
Mm.
because who you are is who you just shared with me. You love math, you're good at this, you have a golden doodle for a pet at home. This is
Yeah.
who you are,
Yeah.
That's
and
almost
we're going to
game
focus
one
on
done
struggles,
right there,
but
y'all.
that doesn't define you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think that's really beautiful. I think that we live in a very big world, and because of that, things have to kind of be generalized a lot. And that is inevitable, right? You can't meet every single person. You can't understand what's going on in the whole world by looking at every single person. It's just not possible. But the tragedy of that is when the individual person feels generalized.
Right.
Or generalized.
Right.
Or faded.
right.
So
Lost in the shuffle, that they
Right.
don't really matter.
the
that-
flow of numbers.
Yeah, right. And every patient deserves, no matter their age, every patient deserves to feel important and listened to, and this is their body, no matter their age. And yeah, the minors, their parents have to approve, what's decided on, but I want them to have a voice in it as well, so that if they have concerns, I can address those, so they do understand.
Right. Very cool. So, I kind of want to go back, if I'm being honest, to the SMI days.
Okay.
Well, first off, how do you think that affected you? Because I'm sure some people can do SMI for 10 years and walk out scot-free, but I don't.
Right here, I want to cut back to my wide one last time, right before I leave, to the permanent
Well,
wide.
first off, how do you think
this.
that affected you? Because
It'll be a little bit more impactful. What it says.
I'm sure some people can do SMI.
Cool. So next, because we can't really do much with this, we have to stay there.
I
I don't. Do they recognize?
will tell you that for 6 months I worked in that field.
No. So they don't interrupt it. Fortunately, so we have one perfect audio file, which is huge, and it'll help us out. So I'm gonna figure out this wide camera. And see if it'll let me.
It was tough and demanding and draining, and I wondered sometimes.
Okay, so it's gonna be close. I think I'm gonna do this. Just move it over a smidge. We'll do this. And we'll do sync. Okay. Cool. Next. All right. We're almost there. Almost there. We're about halfway done here. Finally. Took 53 minutes, but that's okay. Won't mind. Unfortunately, I get to do it the old-fashioned way. If it was Nate's Dream World, I just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Kind of being able to just cut back and forth between it, but it's okay. There is always worse. So, hopefully, we have something we can put into this blank space. I'm concerned we might not, and that's okay.
To help individuals.
It's just we're gonna have to try to make something work, and that happens. That happens actually quite often, believe it or not. Typically, stuff like that can happen, and someone misrecords a file, or in a situation like this, which is a totally reasonable situation, it happens. Sometimes audio files get recorded wrong, or something happens to it, and it's like, okay, the first section's trash, whatever it is. It happens. Sometimes you just can't get away with it, and you just have to make do. I'm hoping I don't have to cut back to the logo. I'm hoping I can try to squeeze in like a place for like a mid-roll ad at some point when they do it to try to cover it up. That'll just help me out a lot.
That's not how a lot.
No.
And I think that that's especially impactful to, again, youth, because the fact that it's like, well, what's your favorite? Is your favorite bagel sesame? You might have bipolar 1. It's like, that's not how it works.
Okay, so yeah, it did sink at least.
Bagel sesame.
What am I doing with my life? It's like a question I always ask myself. It's kind of sad, I'll be honest. Alrighty, so that.
Times, what had I gotten myself into?
Mm.
And then I sat down one day and I really thought through what were my goals going into that field. And I realized that what really mattered the most to me was that I 6 months I worked in that field. It was tough. Couldn't help themselves at that time and needed someone that truly, truly cared. And then I sat down one day and I realized I needed to be and then I sat down one
I think that
seriously
most people
mentally
can do
ill,
SMI for 10
SMI.
years and walk out scot-free.
It can be
So
draining.
do you think that
What happened here? Did this get moved over? Oh, it did.
Wonderful. How are you, Garrett?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Super excited to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's a delight.
Whoa.
So
We're small
How are
town
you
in
today?
Arizona.
What are we doing?
Dan Talley, how are you today?
Wonderful. How are you, Garrett?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Super excited to have you on the show.
Fortunately, and I don't know if I'm just getting lucky with how it's working here. I don't know what happened there. I really don't remember what I did for that. But we'll just pray that it doesn't, destroy
You?
everything.
Right.
And it can be heart-wrenching at times, but and I realized that what really mattered the most to me was that I was having
That's especially the fact that it's like, well, what's your favorite?
what was really awesome.
That's beautiful.
Okay, so it's synced.
Really awesome.
That's beautiful. So then can do SMI for 10 years.
Okay, so that synced with that. But this didn't sync with that. That's okay. I can handle that. I can manage. So,
Off of that.
Right.
That's just ridiculous, right?
Mhm.
If you need a treatment, why should there be some stigma attached to it? If that's what helps you be your best you, helps your body function physiologically the way it's due, and improves your quality of life, then that's what we need to help you achieve, not making you feel bad about it. It's that.
Yeah, I had some more on here. And the way that she described take this personality test, or answer my 5.
I want to do this over again. I'm not happy with how this is working out right here. We'll do that, and then we'll do a little bit of. I'll do all the cams all at once. I'll do Deanne. I want to move. I need to move these up here, and then we'll do these. The wide cam too. And then we're gonna do a little syncy woo on these. Sync all these up. Cool. Alrighty. We're chilling. We're chilling. I'm trying to move and groove here. Try to get some stuff going here, but I hope this is somewhat interesting. Maybe someone will see this down the line and be like, oh, this is kind of interesting watching this absolute clown fumble his way through Adobe Premiere. Even though I kind of know what I'm doing, only kind of. Like I 50% know what I'm doing. The other 50% is like just kind of on the fly, winging it, figuring it out as we go. And it sometimes works. Sometimes it's okay. Other times it's kind of a pain in the ass, but that's all right. We manage. Oh, excuse me. Oh my goodness. I didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night, so I'm a little exhausted, and I just ate a big ass burrito from Qdoba, so I'm just like snoozing over here. It's like never been a Qdoba fan though. Burrito wasn't bad, but never been a Qdoba fan. I've always been more of a Chipotle guy. Just not my cup of burrito, if you know what I mean. But oh well. Alrighty. What do we got going on right now? No new stuff. We can check up on an email here. I'm waiting for some emails for some stuff, but doesn't look like I've gotten anything yet. So we're chilling. Cool. Alrighty. We're sync, sunked, baby. Yes, sir. Now, what I want to do, because I can get away with this, and we can see here up at the front, and this is why you do this, and you sync them together up at the front. Now I can move this anywhere I want. I can go right here, I can go this, and we can even, we only need this bottom track. We don't need this one at all. We can unlink this, get rid of this, and just sync these two together. And really quickly though, I do want to sync. We'll sync the ending, and then we can just pull it tight from there. And then I'll just make our lives easier. So we'll sync the ending on that one, and we'll sync this up. And if everything moves around and shifts, we're okay. We know we can just bring that one forward. We can bring this all the way to the front, and we know where these go, according to this one. And we know that'll be then put together correctly. So it's syncing to this clip here, and then these will get synced with their butt ends, when we do that. So hopefully it doesn't take too much longer. I'm like dying. You're like, bruh, come on, let's move it or lose it. I doubt it though. This computer is pretty quick. It's got some pretty dope stuff in it. I'll eventually do a computer build breakdown. I really put a lot of work into this computer. I just recently built it, which is why I started streaming again. It's a dope computer and it's super powerful, but Premiere is just a little crazy. Let's see here. We can go into my NZXT cam, and we can kind of do a little bit of see how much is going on here. Yeah, so it's still minimal load. I'm using 36% of my RAM though, so it's just heavy on the RAM department, which is fine. It happens, but not doing too bad. If that's what's using all the RAM, that's fine. We're doing okay. So as we can see here, it kind of synced it weird. It looks like it would be synced weird, but that's okay because now all we know is we can just drag it to the front right here and keep that all the way up. And we want to just sync it right there to the front. Double check, make sure it's in line, which it is. Cool. We know that. And now we can see, oh, perfect. All the cameras, and we don't have any black spots. We will always have at least something on camera to work with, which will be great. We can pull these all the way out through the end, so we can maximize how much we're using here. And then we'll be good there. We'll resync 3 after we get through this half here. So we're going to do the exact same thing that we did here, kind of just moving along and chugging through whatever we can. Fortunately, I do have Deanne's vocal for this section here, so we can pull Deanne back for that. Even though I do want to go to a wide a little bit.
For 10 years and walk out scot-free.
In the inpatient setting, treating the seriously mentally ill, SMI, it can be draining. It can be heart-wrenching at times, but I don't think that it affected me at all in a negative way, only positive ways. I will tell you that the first 6 months
Like this. We're going to delete that guy.
in that field,
The races. Here we go.
it was tough
So I'm going to go quiet again.
and demanding and draining, and I wondered sometimes what had I gotten myself into.
Right.
And then I sat down one day and I really thought through what were my goals going into that field. And I realized that what really mattered the most to me was that I was having an opportunity.
I want to cut to a wide and then go back to her talking.
Was
about her
that I was having an opportunity to help individuals that couldn't help themselves at that time and needed someone that truly, truly cared. And I needed to believe that that would make a difference for them, and that, I didn't need any thanks for that, but just in my heart, feeling like I had changed their life for the better was really awesome.
We'll go to a wide here. It'll help us transition out of that sequence
I didn't
a
need
little
any
bit better.
thanks for that, but
and
just
that'll
in my
work out.
heart,
Watch.
feeling like I had changed their life for the better was really awesome.
That's beautiful. So then, with mental health,
See how that flows a
There's
little
a
bit
lot
better?
of
It
stigma.
flows into the wide to establish.
A
Okay,
lot.
now we're going into the
and I
second
think
sequence
that
here.
that's
And then we can just
especially
let him hang and talk about his thing.
might have bipolar 1.
She laughs here, so we'll cut back to her laughing.
favorite is your favorite bagel sesame, you might have bipolar 1. It's like, that's not how it works.
No.
And on the other hand, you have like horror stories that come from one place or another. Combat it.
Well, I think the I think the best way any of us can combat it is to talk about it, just like we're doing right now, and just like we could do every single day in many, many situations. I just had a phone call with one of my grown daughters earlier today, where we were discussing options, and I said to her, "But I would never say to a person, you've been taking insulin for so many years, you should try to get off of that. That's just ridiculous, right? If you need a treatment, why should there be some stigma attached to it? If that's what helps you be your best you, helps your body function physiologically the way it needs to, and improves your quality of life, then that's what we need to be helping you achieve, not making you feel bad about it.
Right.
It's sad."
Yeah, I had one Mara on here previously, and the way that she described it, which I think is the best way I've ever heard it, is you brush your teeth every day, right? You apply basically a metal paste to your teeth every day. You brush it on to keep your teeth. Like, if you need insulin, you take insulin.
Right.
It's not a
Right.
moral question
Right.
at all.
People don't feel guilty when they go get an antibiotic for strep throat.
Absolutely.
People don't worry about what their neighbors are going to think if they, go to the doctor for whatever.
Right.
Why do we let that hold us back if we're struggling with some mental struggles?
Mm-hmm.
The brain is a fascinating.
It's not a
Right.
moral question
Right.
at all.
People don't feel guilty when they go
Yeah,
get
that
an
was
antibiotic
great.
for strep throat.
Absolutely.
People don't worry about what their neighbors are going to think if they mental struggles.
Mm-hmm.
The brain is a fascinating,
weird.
right?
Yeah.
But it's an organ in your body just like any other. And it needs attention, it needs care, it needs treatment sometimes. Yeah.
Let Garrett do his
This is off
thing.
topic, but you know that human beings actually can't tell if something's wet. We can't sense wetness, but we know if something's cold, and when it feels liquidy, then it's wet. Does that make sense?
Huh?
It does.
Wait. TV time out here. We're gonna put it. This is about to be also just off topic. Thank you for that. I've never heard of this in my life. I want if someone can fact check this for me and send it to me. It'd be awesome because I don't believe that.
Well, but
It's totally
more to the same. Does that make sense?
it does.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it is very, very
Sorry,
strange.
that's total. Does that make sense?
It does.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it is very, very
Sorry,
strange.
that's total rabbit hole, but
It's totally
to the same.
the brain is fascinating. The things that
Same.
the brain is fascinating. The things it needs care, it needs treatment sometimes. Yeah.
This is off topic, but you know that human beings actually can't tell if something's wet. We can't sense wetness, but we know if something's cold, and when it feels liquidy, then it's wet. Does that make sense?
It does.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it is very, very
Sorry,
strange.
that's total rabbit hole, but
It's totally
more to the same.
the brain is fascinating. The things that it does and why and how.
I think I'm gonna export this. We're gonna go I and then put an output here. I like this for a reel. So one thing I'm always thinking about, and I have to do it my actual job, is I'm always thinking when I'm editing, I'm like, okay, can we post this elsewhere? Can I put this here? Can I put this there? So I like this sequence a lot.
And times, yeah.
this is off topic, but you know that human beings actually can't tell if something's wet. We can't sense wetness, but we know if something's cold.
Does she have a reaction here?
We can't tell if something's wet. We can't sense wetness,
She kind of has a little reaction.
but we know if something's cold, and when it feels liquidy, then it's wet. Does that make sense?
It does.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it is very, very
Sorry,
strange.
that's total rabbit hole, but
It's totally
more to the same.
the brain is fascinating.
Yeah,
The
so
things
that's-
that it does and
So we
why
can
and
do
how.
that I out.
I think it's fascinating. I do tell all of my patients, old and young, I'm a total nerd. I'm a total nerd because stuff like that fascinates me, and I love reading boring research and my patients, old and young. I'm a total nerd. I'm a total nerd because stuff like that fascinates me, and I love reading boring research and learning all the time. Reading boring research and learning all the time, and you're right. It's strange
which,
things.
thank you for doing that, because not all of us have it in us to do it.
Uh-huh.
So that's very awesome. So what
We'll go to our wide here
if you could tell?
to right here to when he starts speaking correctly about his not correctly, but when he starts really speaking.
All the prospective patients, yours, others, if you could like tell them one thing or just say one thing generally about mental health, what comes to mind?
I guess I would say, um, I guess I would say, protect it,
Mm-hmm.
take care of it, treat it. Just take care of your mental health the same way you take care of your physical health. It's that important.
Right.
And yeah.
Very cool. So
We're gonna clear that for now. I'll remember where that point was.
session
Hope.
with you look like it was a
Get rid of a lot of this nonsense.
for whatever it is. We schedule the appointment. They fill out some forms so that you know what's going on before you walk in. So that instead of so you guys can have 1 hour session instead of 5 before you know what's going on. So when they step in, they've got their vitals and they actually step into your door. What goes down from there?
I introduce myself, and
Go talk.
I almost always thank either the patient or the parents for doing the paperwork that you mentioned, because it's so important. And nobody likes paperwork, and I always say even electronic paperwork is not fun, but thank you for doing that. And then just talk to them, like a normal person, and listen to what they've been experiencing. Ask
Go put a cut in there. Just to our wide. Just to give something else to look at for a few seconds.
some questions that help draw out,
Yeah, you
the
give us a little reaction there.
the severity of what they're experiencing. Sometimes just listening and answering questions, helping them understand, is what they're experiencing normal, or is it a disorder, or and giving them a lot of information rather than just listening briefly, saying this is what you have, this is what you're going to do.
Bye-bye.
Right? No. Do
Bye-bye.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right? No.
exactly.
Yeah.
How do you deal with patients, adolescent or adult, that don't? And sometimes I think it's funny because I think sometimes patients who are full adults schedule the appointment for themselves. They book the appointment. They come into the appointment. They sit down, and then they don't really say anything, and that's fine. Some people are more introverted, and also it's not something that you automatically know how to talk about necessarily. I think that's especially true for guys. It's just not,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
for better and for worse.
Yes.
How do you deal with that?
A couple of different ways. I always have if it's a minor, an adolescent, a child, and the parents come in, and we kind of, we get to know each other, talk a little bit.
Especially
Everything,
that part of life.
right? To really share
Especially
everything,
that part of life.
right?
Right.
And especially at that age.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes we'll do some of the screeners with the parents out of the room, and then they come back in, and I make sure that they understand how confidentiality works,
Fast
and that
forward a little bit here.
everything will be kept confidential. And the only exception to that is, if they're a danger to themselves or others. And then parents come back in, we talk about what's going on and what our options are, and I try to draw them out. Well, how do you feel about that? Is it making your life really hard or just a little hard, and try to just draw them into sharing what they're experiencing, because if I don't know that,
Right.
where do we go from there?
Oh my goodness.
And so, sometimes it
gosh,
takes a
I've
while
been
for them to
sitting in
kind
this
of
chair
warm
for
up.
too
That's why it's
long.
good that first appointment's longer.
Say that all my
You know?
streams are an hour long. Like,
But
I always
and then I
do
always
when
tell
I'm
them,
an hour.
every single time you come, we're both gonna talk and learn some more, and it's a process, And I also tell them, for those that are old enough to understand this is a marathon, not a sprint. Nothing's gonna change overnight, but
Let's see here.
we're gonna work at it slow and steady, and we're gonna figure it out.
Very cool. Do you have
Cool. So that'll be all right, I think. For there, we can kind of go forward a little bit here. We know she doesn't just get refrigerated talking.
Because we were of a similar
That's so
age,
sweet.
and nothing's better than 70s music, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he knew who I was, and I had worked in it and sometimes just spend time with him out on the patio. We would sing songs from the 70s because we were of a similar
That's so
age,
sweet.
and nothing's better than 70s music, right?
I want to get her saying that.
To that unit, and sometimes just spend time with him out on the patio. We would sing songs from the 70s because we were of a similar
That's so
age,
sweet.
and nothing's better
I don't know if I like that. I think I'll just do this.
than 70s because
Cuts.
we were of a similar
That's so
age,
sweet.
and nothing's better than 70s music, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yeah, I'll be right there. So on my way over,
Pro Deanne swinging by to save the day.
on my way over, I thought, what can I do? What can I do?
Mhm.
Way over,
Pro Deanne swinging by to save the day.
on my way over, I thought, what can I do? What can I do?
Mhm.
And so when I got there, the nurse was standing in the doorway of one of the common rooms, and she had a cup of medication, and she had a cup of water, and she was looking worried. And I went into the room, and he was the only person in that room. And he, as soon as he saw me, his manic, pressured speech was, "Oh, it's my favorite person, Deanne, and I'm so glad you're here." And on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
And I said to him, "I came to sing with you." And he was a very religious person, and I knew that he would know the song. Everybody knows this song, and so I started singing, "Amazing Grace."
Yeah.
And the minute that I started singing, he stopped his pressured speech, and he stared at me, and he would call me his angel Deanne, and he just listened so intently. And when I came to the end of a musical phrase to take a breath, he would start again, and my heart just went out to him that he was experiencing this
Right.
intense, debilitating, mental illness. And phrase to take a breath, he would start again, and my heart just went out to him that he was experiencing this
Right.
intense. To him that he was experiencing this
Right.
intense, debilitating, mental illness.
Something there to break it up.
And
'Cause, I want to keep on.
then
her.
I would
don't wanna
start
go
the
back too
next-
wide yet. Just I need something in there to break that up. So I'm gonna go just cut to him on a reaction, make my life a little
musical
easier.
phrase, and he would stop.
Mm-hmm.
And as this was happening, I looked over at the nurse with my eyes and thought, okay, let's give him his
Right.
And I just kept
All right, so now we're close to the end here. We'll once again grab all of our stuff and things. We'll put Deanne on top. We'll put wide 3 on the bottom, and we'll put Garrett right smack dab in the middle. We'll shrink all these dingoes up, and in the meantime, we'll take a sip of chocolate milk, because milk's good. Oh my goodness. Oh gosh, I love it when things go by faster. Cool. Well, that's done. Once again, we know we can sync it up to there. Go here, here. Sync these, and I'll be okay. Beautiful. We can pull this all the way in, line it up, and we know we are good to go. So again, we won't have any awkward cut stuff going on here. I hope. So we know.
didn't I think of that?
We want
To
to
be
go back
fair-
to him. And I want to delete, I want to unlink these, just because I don't want to have to hear them. Unlink, we can delete you, and we can pull you in and over.
That's
there.
not probably in the procedure handbook as
No.
a way to solve a problem, which
No.
I think goes out to the creativity and compassion that you brought to that situation.
Well, I think that people want to receive care from people they trust because they know that they're
Yeah.
knowledgeable and skilled, but also that they see them as real people.
Right.
And, I would go to the geriatric unit and, sing old songs from the, 60s, 70s, and 80s. And that was reminiscent stuff for them. And, they loved it. So I think you just need to be a real person, but you need to also be good and knowledgeable about what you're doing so
Right.
that you are helping people. But it's okay to be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
People want real people.
Yeah, I think that's speaks to the fact that it's.
Yourself.
Mm-hmm.
People want real people.
Yeah, I think that speaks to the fact that it's. In the same way as we as people are a brain and a heart,
Mm-hmm.
a good, healthy treatment strategy requires
Right.
a brain.
Treating
and- healthy treatment
What?
strategy requires
right.
a brain
Treating
and
the
a heart.
whole person, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. Well,
Go to her, because she talked last, and then we'll go to him because he goes
Is there
to talk.
anything else you'd like to talk about?
Gosh. No, I feel grateful for an opportunity to be able to share how much I love what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Every day is challenging and rewarding, and I don't think
Because
there's
we're coming to a
any
close here, I'm gonna try to
provider
stick on some more wides if we
anywhere
can.
ever in any
I'll put a
field
wide
that
in
always
here.
100% of the
Even if it
time
doesn't really truly
has
make a
all
whole
the
ton of
answers.
sense on the
Right.
current location of it,
But
to somewhere
my
that,
goal
hey, we're
is
just
to
coming
be
to
a
close, we're
provider.
pulling out
I
a little
thought
bit,
I thought that
backing
when
out of
you
this
guys
thing, kind of
graduated,
thing.
you went through like an ancient Egyptian ritual to make you a demigod, so you just knew
So that we
So they double talk here, so we'll go to our wide again.
knew
everything.
everything.
Yeah, that was
Wow.
my interpretation.
Don't I wish?
She says, "Don't I wish?" right here.
Don't I wish? Don't we all wish?
Yeah.
I really feel like to be a provider.
I thought that when you guys graduated, you went through like an ancient Egyptian ritual to make you a demigod, so you just knew
So that we knew
everything.
everything.
Yeah, that was
Wow.
my interpretation.
Don't I wish? Don't we all wish?
That was
Wow.
my interpretation.
Don't I wish? Don't we all wish?
I like it where it was before. I like cutting right to it.
Don't I wish? Don't we all wish?
Yeah.
I really feel like I'm lucky to work in a field that I love.
Mhm.
And my husband always says, if you love what you do, can you really call it work?
It's
you know?
facts, though.
And that's how I feel about it.
Hey, that's straight facts. Like that's literally like my life motto. Like I love what I'm doing here. Like that's why I'm not miserable doing this, and that's why I'm silent and focused because I love doing this. I love seeing how things get put together, and that's why I do this. Like, hopefully, I can inspire you to be like go make something and go do something. Obviously, I'm not the greatest editor on planet Earth. I don't know a whole lot. I really don't. Yeah, I went to school for it, but and I'll admit that I'm not the first guy to admit that. Hey, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed here, and I'm not the most advanced on Adobe Premiere. But I do it because I love it, and ultimately that passion is what drives you. Quentin Tarantino has a quote. I'm taking a pause to preach to the choir here for a second. Quentin Tarantino has a quote that talks about how you can be super talented and you can know you can know these lenses, you can know how to edit, you can know these different effects and transitions and all this and that and be the best. But he's like, if you don't really care, you're not gonna know. You're not gonna do it. Like you're not. Like he'd rather have someone on his team who cares and is at least passionate about the project than someone who knows all the stuff. Which is an interesting take and an interesting thought on, how we act as people and editors and as a community and as society. There's always that saying that hard work breeds talent when talent fails to work hard, and it's very similar to that idea. And as long as you care about something and it's the passion that you put into something, that's really what makes the difference. It's the thing that really brings everything to the next level.
absolutely love what I do. Grateful that I've been able to have the circumstances where I could do this, accomplish this, and get to this. Absolutely love what I do. Grateful that I've been able to have the circumstances where I could.
I don't like that cut at all.
Grateful that
I know I added
I've
it in,
been
but I
able
hate
to
it.
have the circumstances where I could
But I want something to go wide.
do this, accomplish this, and get to this point, and just truly, truly do just want to help people. So.
Well, I think your patient was right. Angel's the correct definition.
Thank you.
Yep, you're absolutely delightful. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Good to.
Delightful. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Good to be here.
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
And so I think we'll fade out here, and that's where we'll close. So now we have our selected thing. We're good here. I'm going to group this so that way I can't break this, essentially, is the point in doing that. I can't break it and make it, I can't destroy the project here. So now we can back that up.
Now, I was mentioning that Rap Team Station
I like that a lot. So obviously we got to do some level mixing here. I want to pull this in here, and we'll bring that in.
Wonderful. How
Dan Tally, how are you today?
Won-
Dan Tally, how are you today?
Wonderful. How are you, Garrett?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Dan Tally, how are you today?
Wonderful. How are you, Garrett?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. You go through school. At what point did you decide that you wanted to do what you do now, which is, what do you do now? We'll start there.
Well, I am a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner.
I think we'll just kind of slowly fade it out, starting from like back here even. And we'll have it go out there. Really trying to maximize it here. Kind of create a nice little slope.
Childhood.
Nice. So I wanted to do that.
I think I knew a lot longer,
So by the time we're there,
further
we're
back than I
completely
actually
out
knew.
of it. So that's good. We want to bring this in again here down at the end and grab our little graphic. Put the graphic down here at the end, and we will bring audio here to end here. Kind of, let's find out something. You can kind of go with that around there. We'll just have that be a fade in and out, thankfully. So we'll go there. It's not where I wanted you, but whatever. I'll deal with you in a minute. We'll go here. We will do a lovely little Command D. Oh, that's Windows D. Ha! I'm so used to my Mac, where I can just kind of get away with not having to do some of the with some of the things. Like I used to use this exact keyboard just on my old on my old Mac, what I used to originally stream on. So if somebody can find those streams, good luck, and enjoy watching multiple hours of terrible produced content with no production value whatsoever. All right, okay, so let's go in here. Fortunately, I really don't think I need to do a ton of color. It looks like he shot it really well. Color-wise, it looks good. However, this needs to be wrong.
I think your patient was right. Angel's the correct definition.
Thank you.
Yep, you're absolutely delightful. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Good to be here.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll Command D this. Gah! I did it again, dude. Gosh, it's gonna be rough. That's gonna be frustrating. I forgot. I always forget about that. We'll cross dissolve this guy here. Actually, I want to do this. I want to ungroup real quickly, so I can grab you and bring you down, and then bring you back, so we can end on her. Actually, I feel like ending on the wide.
Good to be here.
Yes, ma'am.
Nice. I like that. We need to be brought down. Give myself some more audio length here. Just something more to work with. We'll pen tool this here down, and we'll fade that out. Cool. And then we're out, and that's it. Woo! Sweet. And now, because I don't want this to sound like
A good healthy treatment strategy requires people are a brain and a
so
heart.
abrupt.
A good healthy treatment
I wanna
strategy
add
requires
Right.
a brain
Treating
and a
the
heart.
whole person, right?
Absolutely.
Yep, absolutely.
Very cool. Well, is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
Gosh. No, I feel grateful for an opportunity to be able to share how much I love what I do. Every day is challenging and rewarding, and
An ancient Egyptian ritual to make you a demigod, so you just knew
so that we knew
everything.
everything.
Nice.
Yeah,
I like
that was
that.
my
I like that a
interpretation.
lot. That
Don't
is
I wish?
really
Don't we
good.
all wish?
Cool. I'm very much happy with that. Let's go here to our intro real quick and make sure we add our cross dissolves. Just so that way, we're doing solid on those. Make sure everything's nice and tidy here. I'm okay with this starting from there. Kind of starting right away. I'm okay with that. I think it works.
Yeah, I was thinking that rap music.
Dan Tally.
I'm wondering if I'm not a whole fan of the whole, hey, let's have this be there. So we could go into our effects and we can bump this up. My concern, let's go full screen. Yeah, see how pixelated it is. So what we will do is we'll bring this down, we'll put this back at 100, and we will make a new color matte. That's fine. And we'll make it just bright white. And yeah, that's fine. And then we'll bring this in. We'll put you here for the time being. Bring this up. Put that there. And I'll bring this here. And put the color matte all the way across. So that way, now it's this nice little thing here.
that rap music.
Dan Tally, how are you?
Nice. It's going to look sweet. I want to make this out a little bit earlier. Nice, I like that. That'll be a cool little transition that we'll do.
Yeah, I would cancel that rap music.
Dan Tally.
Nice. Cool. So we'll copy this here. We'll bring this all the way over to the end of our sequence and kind of do the exact same thing. Just so that way we can get it as close as we can to it. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be kind of close in terms of what it looks like. So we'll pull this back to make sure that fades out when we want it to. We can pull our, pull our color matte back as well. Add our cross dissolve in there. Add our cross dissolve here. And at the end for all of our wonderful needs. I want to make sure that fades in a little slower than this. So we're out super in. And it'll fade out. That'll be okay. We'll fade this out quicker. Hopefully, yeah. I want to get rid of that boxing artifacting that's happening there. So we'll pull this back just a smidgen. That's better. That'll look great. Cool. I'm happy with that. And that there is a finished sequence. I'm not going to watch this whole thing all the way through because it is a half hour long, and I don't really feel like sitting here for a half hour watching the exact same thing that I just edited. But we can go through here and kind of go review some of the edits and some
Many
of the
years.
things that we go
Well,
through here.
thought I couldn't achieve it, and then I realized I'm not that far away. I could do this.
You can jump
Yeah,
straight to
I
finish.
could do it. And so I did.
Very cool. So a couple questions jumped out to me there. One of them is,
Like
when
here
you
at the
finally did
beginning.
leave, was it hard?
Oh, it was extremely hard.
Yeah, I would cancel that rap music.
Dan Tally, how are you today?
Wonderful. How are you, Garrett?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Super excited to have you on the show.
Thank you for helping me.
It's a delight. So I have a few questions for you. I just want to kind of get to know you, figure out why you do what you do.
Okay.
So first,
So yeah, I like that I'm cutting a little bit faster, and then I slow the pace down pretty gradually. You can kind of even see here, you can see the pacing really tapers off right around here. And slowly starts to go towards letting people talk and letting people hang and have these, making it more of an intentional type of conversation that they're having. With that, I think that looks pretty good. Obviously, we don't need to do any color. The color was automatically done on the camera, and they didn't shoot in RAW or anything. There aren't a whole bunch of adjustments. I'm not a fan of his, but it's not too terrible. It's all pretty much shot the exact same. They all look very similar, and I'm quite happy with that. They don't have any lighting there. I think they're just using the normal basic light that's in the room, which is okay. It just makes it a little, more uniform within one way. So we'll go in here. We will call this, we will put the date of recording, or date of, should we do date of, we'll do date of recording, which is going to be 2/11. So we'll put, we'll do 2023, 02/11, and then we'll title it Deanne. And so then that allows us to do that. We will save it to our project folder, which is currently titled this new folder, which is terribly labeled, but we'll save it right in here. Click save. Cool. It'll save it into that folder, and we'll click export. And we are off to the races, and with that, we will be done once it finishes rendering, hopefully in 2 minutes, which will be nice. But in the meantime, I'm going to head off stream. I might start back up again here in a little bit and get some gaming going and get some of that gaming action in. But in the meantime, I'm going to go on mute. I don't really have a default screen. I'm going to turn the stream off and turn it back on. Kind of get stuff reloaded here and kind of give my computer a moment to breathe. We'll probably play some video games. So I'll be back here in a little bit. You'll see the stream come on, and we'll be right there. I'm going to try to make some graphics here up in the coming while that I can roll. So I can roll a graphic here that's like, hey, I'm taking a poop in the bathroom. I'll be right back. That kind of thing. So, cool. We'll be back here hopefully within the next 2 minutes, right back on stream. So don't go anywhere.